Not everything in this world has a clear answer. Hello, and welcome to all of you hunters of facts, seekers of knowledge, and those just a little bit curious to FactSam. Today, we will be starting the second series I will be doing on this channel, Facts Unknown. In this series, we will be exploring the myths, legends, and unsolved mysteries that surround our world. We will be starting with a topic which has been a personal favourite of mine for many years now, the Pied Piper of Hamelin. The town of Hamelin was suffering from a plague of rats. One day, a piper dressed in multicoloured clothing appeared in the town, claiming that he could help remove the rats. The mayor offered to pay the piper in return for getting rid of the rats. Accepting this offer, the piper went into the streets and played his pipe, attracting all the rats and lured them into a nearby river, drowning all but one. Upon the piper's return, the mayor refused to pay him the full amount which had been agreed, and even suggested the piper himself was to blame for the rats in order to extort the town. This made the piper very angry. He left town, but not before swearing to return and take revenge. On St. John and Paul's Day, the piper returned, this time wearing all green like a hunter. He played his pipe again, and this time all the town's children came to him. 130 children then followed the piper and were never seen again. The next part varies depending on the version of the story. At most, 3 children stayed behind, 1 lame, 1 deaf, and 1 blind. Which one and how many children varies on the version of the story. Some versions say he led them into a cave, never to come out again. Others say he took them to the top of Kopelberg Hill and then to a beautiful land, or to Kopelberg Mountain, or that he led them to the river and drowned them, just like the rats. To many, this is merely a story. A fairy tale with a deep message to always pay what you owe and to keep your promises. I mean, a man with a magic pipe luring rats away with music does seem a little bit far-fetched to possibly be true, right? Of course it is. However, when you start to look beyond the story, something unexplained does begin to emerge. The town of Hamelin itself is real, located in Lower Saxony, Germany. Looking into the town's past, there is some evidence pointing towards the existence of the piper, or at least a similar event. The earliest mention of the piper in the town comes from a stained glass window in the church of Hamelin from around 1300, which was mentioned in several accounts between the 14th and 17th centuries. Although this window was destroyed along with the church in 1660, several descriptions have survived and a modern reconstruction was made. Our next piece of evidence comes from 1384 in the form of an entry into the town chronicles. It states, "It is 100 years since our children left," although no indication is given as to why they left. To me, this sounds very ominous and raises many questions. It is almost as if something happened which they did not want to talk about. Also in 1384, a Deacon Lude from Hamelin reportedly possessed a chorus book containing an eyewitness account of the event from his grandmother, although there is no confirmation of this. A later source of the existence of the piper comes from the Lüneburg manuscript, which gives an early German account of the event. In the year 1284, on the day of St. John and Paul, on the 26th of June, 130 children born in Hamelin were led away by a piper clothed in many colours to their calvary near the Kopen and lost. Then there's the geography around the town. It is near the Weser River, potentially making it the river from the story. Then there's the mention of the Kopelberg in some versions of the story. Kopen, High German meaning a knoll or domed hill, which could be a reference to one of the several hills which surround Hamelin. So what really did happen to the children of Hamelin? Using the evidence we have gathered so far, we can pinpoint the exact date as the 26th of June 1284. Using this and the geography of the town, we can determine several theories which could help us get to the truth. Because, come on, as if a man with a magic pipe lured them into a cave. Over the years, several theories have emerged regarding the Piper, which could be split into three main groups. It is important at this point to note that the first mention of the rats did not come until the 16th century, several hundred years after the incident reportedly took place, pretty much ruling them out of the equation. The first of these group of theories relate to natural causes, such as a disease or natural disaster, with the Piper being used to represent death. As a whole, we could rule out a disease as being the cause. The fact we have a particular day for the incident, as well as only children mentioned being involved, would mean it would have to be a very specific and fast acting one. Also, nothing I've read seems to point towards a particular disease being involved. One particular theory includes the children drowning in the river, which would match some versions of the story. However, my research could find nothing solid to back this up or offer an explanation as to how the children ended up in the river. Another theory believes the children may have fell victim to a mass psychogenic illness such as dancing mania. Dancing mania, also known as dancing plague, is a phenomenon in which a group of people begin dancing, sometimes for weeks at a time, for an as yet unknown reason. Many dancing mania outbreaks occurred throughout Europe between the 13th and 17th centuries. The most notable of these occurred in 1237, when a group of children jumped and danced from Erfurt to Arnstadt, a distance of around 20 kilometres. Both of these towns are within 200 kilometres of Hamelin. Another instance occurred in 1278 in Germany, when 200 people fell into the river Meuse after a bridge they were dancing on collapsed. Both of these incidents bear a striking resemblance to the incident in Hamelin, offering a plausible explanation as to what may have occurred there. A more modern interpretation of the story claims the children were led away by some kind of sect to the forests near the Koppenbruch for a ritual, which may have included music and dancing. Whilst there, they were killed in a landslide or a sinkhole. In this theory, the name Koppenbruch could be linked to the Koppen mentioned in some versions of the story. This theory could potentially be backed up by the entry in the Lüneburg manuscript, in that the children were led away and lost, with the Piper representing the cult leader or recruiter. Our next group of theories relate to mass emigration. The first of these suggests that the children were sold to a recruiter from the Baltics. This could explain the reason why the children leaving was not officially recorded in the town chronicles, and it is something which wasn't uncommon to happen at the time. Sheila Harty states in her essay Pied Piper Revisited that there is a similarity between surnames in the settled regions and those from Hamelin. Wolfgang Maeder theorises in his book Pied Piper, a Handbook, that they were part of an attempt to settle Transylvania, which had suffered heavily from invasions by two grandsons of Genghis Khan. Historian Ursula Sauter offers evidence supporting emigration to the Baltic regions with this hypothesis. After the defeat of the Danes at the Battle of Bornholved in 1227, the region south of the Baltic Sea, which was then inhabited by Slavs, became available for colonisation by the Germans. The bishops and dukes of Pomerania, Brandenburg, Uckermark and Prignitz sent out glib locators, medieval recruitment officers, offering rich rewards to those who were willing to move to the new lands. Thousands of young adults from Lower Saxony and Westphalia headed east, and as evidence, about a dozen Westphalian place names show up in this area. Indeed, there are 5 villages called Hindenburg running in a straight line from Westphalia to Pomerania, as well as 3 eastern Spiegelbergs and a trail of entomology from Bavaringen, south of Hamelin, to Bavaringen, northwest of Berlin, to Bavaringen in modern Poland. Linguist Jürgen Udolf offers the most solid evidence for this theory. He searched for surnames from Hamelin at the time of the Pied Piper incident and looked for similarities elsewhere. In his search, he not only found un-Slavic names in parts of northwestern Poland, these names bore a resemblance to those from the Hamelin region. He also found names which could be derived from the name Hamelin itself, such as Hamel, Hamler, and Hamelin Co. In these emigration theories, the piper could potentially represent a recruitment officer known as locators. Even the official website for the town of Hamelin supports the idea of an emigration theory, stating, among the various interpretations, reference to the colonisation of East Europe starting from Low Germany is the most plausible one. The children of Hamelin would have in those days been citizens willing to emigrate, being recruited by landowners to settle in Moravia, East Prussia, Pomerania, or in the Teutonic land. The final serious theory is that the children left to be part of a pilgrimage, military campaign, or possibly a new children's crusade, and never returned. In these theories, the piper is believed to be some kind of recruitment agent. The town did not record this to avoid punishment from the church or king. However, there is no evidence which supports this, meaning we could potentially rule it out. Our actual final theory is a little out there, which is why I'm not considering it seriously. It comes from William Manchester, who in his book, A World Lit Only by Fire, claims that the Pied Piper was a psychopathic paedophile who kidnapped and killed the children. Now, whilst this is an interesting hypothesis, it does have several holes in it. Firstly, he places the event as being in 1484, 200 years after the Town Chronicles state the event took place. Second, it is highly improbable that one man acting alone could abduct 130 children without being caught. Finally, he offered no evidence whatsoever for his theory, and has even made similar claims about other legends. After nearly 800 years, it is very unlikely now we'll ever get a definitive answer as to what really happened in Hamelin on the 26th of June 1284. We can only theorise. Taking the theories we have looked at, for me personally, the most probable is emigration. The wording of the entry in the Town Chronicles, plus historical and modern evidence, do seem to back this up. Other theories, whilst interesting possibilities, do not yet have enough evidence or any to support them. Unless all these theories are just that, theories, and the truth is something we have yet to come up with or comprehend. I mean, what if the story itself is the truth? What if the piper himself actually exists and is out there waiting for his next group of children to take away to some unknown place? Nah. Thank you so much for watching. What do you think? Which theory discussed do you feel is more likely to be true? Or do you have any of your own? Write them in the comments and get a discussion going. If you have enjoyed this video, then it would be greatly appreciated if you could leave a like. I hope to continue doing this series alongside my other one, so if you would like to see more, then hit subscribe. Yet again, thank you for watching. I've been Faxam, and I hope to see you again soon.